to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. So wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours, we're having some really amazing weather events, aren't we, at the moment? I mean, our poor family and friends in the UK are sweltering through the hottest day on record, which was over 40 degrees Celsius, or in old-fashioned terms, or for people that are on Fahrenheit, that's over 110 degrees. I like the heat, but that's even getting a little bit too hot for me, as we're shivering here in Australia, but, you know, you can send the warmth my way. But 110 degrees or over 40 degrees Celsius is an extremely hot day. And, of course, it's going to be sort of taking the energy out of everybody, and particularly seeing as in the UK, they're not used to really warm days like we are here in Australia, where I'm based on the Gold Coast. Be really, really a super, super stinking hot day if we got to 40 degrees here. We usually run about the 28 to 32, which is pleasant. So anyway, for the rest of the people around the world, I hope you're enjoying your weather wherever you are, and you're enjoying the summertime if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and getting out and having some life again now that we're sort of, you know, coming through the other side of the pandemic, and we're all supposed to be taking our lives back into control and enjoying life in a normal sort of fashion, whatever that is this day and age. Well, let's move on to the Simply Tarot card of the week. And this week it's a scary looking card. It's the Ten of Swords. Now, the Ten of Swords looks quite gruesome, where he's got 10 swords sticking into his back there. Now, let me assure you, it is never, ever, under any circumstances, death of person. It means the death or the ending of a situation in your life. Now, for many of us, that's going to be good news, because the last couple of years, 2.5 years, have been extremely difficult as we've moved through this pandemic, and we're all sort of struggling to come out the other side and find some new beginnings, some new opportunities, things that we can sort of get our teeth into in a very positive sort of way. So I look at this card as being extremely positive. For some people, it will spell the end of a relationship or the end of some chapters in their lives that are no longer suit us or are no longer appropriate in our lives. So whatever it may be for you, just know that it's one door's closing, another one's opening, and we're moving into a much more positive area of our lives than what we've had for a number of years now. So get ready, sort of get your skate. So I'm ready for a new beginning, new opportunities, things to come in much, much faster than what they have done, and that we are able to actually move forward again in our lives. And I think that's a really nice way to be looking at it. Now, it's really interesting astrology, but what I want to talk to you about first off is the fact that we've got the sun in Cancer. Now, the sun in Cancer is the last few days of the sun in Cancer. So it's the last few days that we're sort of feeling this nice, warm, gentle sort of energy flowing over all of us, that we can start to sort of feel as if, okay, this is great. We've got some really good opportunities coming our way. We've got life sort of moving forward again. And it's been a very sort of gentle time with the sun in Cancer. Most of us have enjoyed sort of family activities and, you know, sort of allowing ourselves a little bit of time to breathe. Well, that won't be happening for much longer now, as Cancer comes to the close for this time for this year, and we move into the fiery sign of Leo, when it's going to be all action stations and we're raring to go again. But we've got a couple of days yet before we get into that. We also have Venus, the planet of love and affection, is sitting in Cancer at the moment. So for many of us, it's a time where we've wanted to spend time with family, or we've wanted to stick close to home, or to things that make us smile, things that make us feel secure. So those of you that are sort of searching for love, this is the time where I think you need to sort of stick close to home roots. It's not the time to pack your bags and go on an overseas holiday, or, you know, venture too far out of your local environment. You may just find love on your doorstep. It may be somebody sort of close by, somebody that you've never really given a second glance to, all of a sudden could become very attractive to you. So it's a gentle time. It's not a time when we're sort of necessarily aggressively seeking love. It's when we're looking at it for it in a very gentle sort of homely sort of approach. It's sort of, you know, we just want to sort of take our time and make sure that if we do meet someone, that we take our time to get to know them. We have Mercury, the planet of communication, has just started his lovely little trek through Leo. So communication could be a little bit fiery this week. Watch out for people with their bad tempers or are in a hurry that they haven't got their listening ears on. It's their way or their information that they're sharing is most important, and they've got to blurt it out and get it out, and then they're getting on their way. They don't have time to stop and chit chat and hear your opinion. As long as their opinion's been voiced, that's all that matters. But with that can come some frayed tempers, can come people being a little bit aggressive, pushing and shoving in queues, things like that. So just be a little bit patient if you've got to get into a queue, or if you're making one of those phone calls where you get put on hold with that beautiful jingle jangle music, and your nerves really do become quite frazzled. Might I suggest, if your nerves become frazzled, hang up and ring back again, or find an alternative method, rather than by the time you get to the operator you're ready to really jump down somebody's throat and be quite aggressive and angry yourself. Nobody deserves that. Nobody needs that. Find another form of communication, or ring back when maybe the queue's not so big. We have a major emphasis, as I spoke at the early part of the show, of energy in Aries. Now, this is what I'm going to describe is more suited to the Aries population than it is the rest of the general zodiac. Yes, it will filter through to the rest of us in a much, much more watered down form than it is. So Aries, pay attention. We've got Jupiter, the planet of luck and opportunity, is going through your sign at the moment. So Jupiter is coming in and saying, what sort of opportunities would you like me to bring? Have you been working towards some new projects? Have you been working towards opening new doors? Are you ready to take something new on board? Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Well, if so, Jupiter's here to accommodate that. Where things start to get a little bit tricky now is Jupiter is conjunct or holding hands Chiron, the planet, which is not actually a planet, and it's not actually a luminary or even an Arabian part. It's where we look for in an astrology chart where you've been wounded and you need to heal. So Chiron is that sort of energy. So Aries people at the moment, even though they're trying to expand their life out and sort of look for new opportunities, there is an opportunity here, I think, to expand out the opportunity to heal yourself. Now, for many Aries, they say, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly fine. It's always about, full steam ahead, and fast and stop is the only two speeds they know. And they don't like to admit that maybe that they might have a problem, or maybe they need to stand still long enough to do some soul searching, or sort of, look back at the past and sort of see where you've come from, just to know where you're going in the future. So it's really difficult for an Aries to look backwards. They are always constantly, most of the time, looking forward, not even sort of standing still long enough in the present to sort of even absorb and understand what's going on. So be aware of that, Aries. You might have to do some little bit of healing here, some introspection, some soul searching, sort of looking at where you've come from and to. And this is really important that you don't jump this, because to get the maximum from Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity, we sometimes have to know where we've come from, and know where sort of maybe opportunities of the past that didn't sort of unfold are ready to unfold now that we can go forward. So Chiron is also holding hands or conjunct the part of fortune. Now, this is not where we find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it's not where we're going to make our fortune. It's where we can bring fortunate opportunities into our life. Now, this is known as an Arabian part. With a conjunction here to Chiron, this means that if you do the soul searching, if you do the work, if you do the healing, if you do the acknowledgement of where you've come from and what you need to work on, you can then have many, many areas of your life that become so much more fortunate than what they would have done if you had chosen to ignore this. You wouldn't gain the full maximum benefit out of Jupiter and the opportunities and the expansion and luck that he can bring you. We also have the part of fortune holding hands or conjunct the moon, which is the emotion. So this is going to be a fairly emotional time. And Aries don't do emotions as a general rule of thumb. They sort of, that's for other people to do, haven't got time. Well, you do have to make time. So be aware that with everything that's going on in Aries at the moment, you may start to feel a little bit emotional, or a little bit frustrated, or a little bit angry in yourself, or a little bit disappointed at some of the things that didn't pan out the way that you wanted them to. This is the time to reconcile that, deal with it head on, and make peace with yourself, so that you can understand now this is the way that life can move forward, and we can sort of go forward in a way that only an Aries can do. We also have Mars, the planet of action, is sitting in Taurus or holding hands or conjunct with Uranus, the planet of the unusual and the unexpected. So when we have Mars sitting in a sign like this, it means that we need to sort of now switch our focus onto finances and the things that are important to us, the things that we value, the principles that we live our life by. So Mars conjunct Uranus here, some people would look at that and say, oh, this is a very aggressive combination. Yes, it can be, but I like to look at things as not being necessarily aggressive, but looking at maybe we've got the energy now to find some solutions very, very suddenly to some of the major issues that have been troubling us. Now, if we look at that on a personal level, if you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling in a rut, if you've been feeling like you can't seem to balance the family budget, there's things that just aren't working out the way that you wanted to. Well, with Mars conjunct Uranus here, what it can mean is that we've got the energy, the determination to find alternative solutions. They could come out of nowhere. It might be the time to think outside the square, to think outside the box, to look for some alternatives, some different ways that you have that aha moment that says, oh, yes, that's the solution I've been looking for. How come I didn't see it before? Well, we weren't meant to. So, you know, with it being in Taurus, of course, it's governing our personal finances and the things that are important. So we may just start to get some breakthroughs there in areas that we thought that were impossible before to get some breakthroughs with, that we now have those opportunities coming towards us. So it is really, really a very, very, very positive time that we can start to get some real traction again. And this is good after all the difficulties that we've been through with COVID and everything else, where we've had so many things to deal with in this last 2.5, 3 years, that most of us haven't really sort of looked for, you know, making new opportunities or, you know, venturing out and finding a new job. We've just been trying to keep ourselves well and sort of get through the latest set of, you know, instructions that are coming from health departments and governments and other authorities before we've had time to really look at where our lives are going as a human being and as an individual. So that's where we're going to leave the astrology section. I know I do apologise, we're having a little bit of trouble with my internet from my end for some reason. It's just sort of breezing in and out as it feels like. So it's like it's on holidays. And we're going to take our first caller, which is Nadine in Las Vegas in Nevada in the US of A. Are you there, Nadine?
No, I'm your person on this left side greeting people in here. She's in a purple shirt on this side on the left.
Hello, Nadine.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello?
do you have a question I can work with? Hello, Nadine. Do you have a question I can work with, please, sweetie?
Yes, I do. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes. Do you have a question I can work with, sweetheart?
Yes, I do. I lost my husband a year ago, June 9th, 2021. And I'm trying to understand why he left me unexpectedly.
Okay, Nadine, look, I'm really sorry that you lost your husband. It's always very difficult when we lose somebody that, you know, we're sharing a life with, particularly a spouse or a partner. Darling, I don't know that it was necessarily deliberate on his part that he left you suddenly. I don't feel that he was ready to go in any stretch of the imagination. I think it was as much of a shock to him that he was gone and had left you all behind as it was for you to lose him. To me, it was sort of almost an unexplained situation. You know, here 1 minute, gone the next. And he keeps telling me that he didn't realise he was unwell. He didn't feel anything or notice anything different. He just sort of felt it was life as normal. So he hasn't really got an explanation for why it all happened so suddenly. There is no explanation as far as he can see. He didn't ignore anything. He didn't deliberately not go and seek medical help. He didn't realise there was anything wrong with him. It was just he was here 1 minute and on the ground the next. That's how he's showing it to me. He's showing me that there was nothing he could have done to prevent it or change it. He appreciates that, you're still shocked and upset and miss him and all that sort of stuff. And it obviously left behind a number of areas of your life that you had to sort of all of a sudden take control of and do something, rearrange things. But he's also sort of showing me that there is, it's time now to sort of try and start to move forward. I don't know that you're going to get any more answers, Nadine, than what you already got. Sometimes things happen and they are a mystery to all of us, that there was no warning at why somebody all of a sudden passes away. It's just the way it is. So did the authorities, the doctors and that give you any answers, Nadine?
No.
No, but I just don't feel that there was, I don't think there was anything sinister there, and I don't feel there was anything that wasn't good. It's just, that's the way it was, sweetheart. It's just, his body just shut down. There was no warning to it. It was that sudden. There was no headache. There was no warning sign. It just happened. And I'm terribly sorry for your loss, sweetheart. I know it must be really difficult to try and come to terms with this when you've lost somebody so suddenly. And it's never an easy thing when we lose somebody, but we have to make the best of a situation and we have to move forward in our lives. So that's where we're going to leave Nadine now in Las Vegas, and we're going to go to Taylor in Grand Island in Nebraska. Are you there, Taylor?
Yes.
Hello, Taylor.
Hello? I'm here.
Hello, Taylor. Okay, do you have a question I can work with, please, Taylor?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you have a question I can work with, please, sweetie?
Yeah, it's just about my current relationship with this guy.
Right. Okay. Do you want to give me his first initial, please, sweetie?
E.
E, okay. All right. Yeah, it's just that I like to have something to tune into, and I don't want you to mention his name on World Wide Web. So, okay, let me tune into the relationship for you. It's interesting because I get a very confusing energy around this young man. It's not that he doesn't care for you, and it's not that he's unhappy about being in the relationship. I just feel his whole life seems to be feeling like it's in chaos to me at the moment. It's like he's going round and round in circles and not really finding any solutions or any answers to what he feels is the next direction of his life. Everything seems to be very uncomfortable at the moment, and it's like I feel as if he feels there should be more. He feels there should be more to life. And it's interesting because he's not sharing any of these thoughts with you. It's, you can ask him what's wrong and he says nothing. And you say, well, you're a bit different. Are you not well? Are you this? Are you that? And he says, no, nothing's wrong. And I think it's because he doesn't quite understand it himself. He doesn't understand that he is confused. All as he knows is that he doesn't have any answers. Now, as far as the relationship moving forward, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him suggest a little break in the relationship, and that would only be very short term. I'm not going to say the end of the relationship. I'm going to say a little break. It's like he says everything's overwhelming and he just needs a bit of time to himself and he wants a little break. And you say to him, well, how long is that going to be? And he says, I don't know. I don't want you to be too distressed by that. I think it's going to be short term. I think it'll only be a week or two, probably 3 at the outside. Then when he comes back, it's like there's more answers to the situations that have been sitting there like the elephant in the room between the two of you. He starts to communicate more, and he's starting to tell you that he wasn't feeling right. He was having dizzy spells. He was, generally feeling not right. But at the same time, he was feeling his life was out of control. He didn't know where he was going and what he was doing, even though he had a job and friends and all those sort of things. None of it seemed to feel like it was his, that he was sort of trying to come to terms with whatever this peculiar energy was. Put it into words because he didn't quite understand it himself. But he knows in the time that he's having this break with you that there's a big piece of his life is missing. So that's why I think when he comes back, he's going to start to talk to you. He's going to tell you more about what's been going on in his head in the best words that he can find to explain it. And some of it probably won't make any sense, but at the same time, he's doing the best that he can do. I like him. I think he's a nice man. I think what you see is what you get. there's no hidden, certainly no one else. He's not lying to you. I think he's just in a very confused spot at the moment, Taylor. Are you going through some changes yourself too, Taylor, in your life at the moment?
Kind of.
Yeah, because to me, what they're showing me is that you need to start focusing on what you need. I mean, I know the relationship's important, but you need to put yourself first at the moment and focus on what Taylor needs, because there's some big changes coming up for you. Were you planning on changing your job, were you?
I don't have a job, but I plan on getting one. I'm looking for a job.
Okay.
Because I just moved to Nebraska from Colorado.
Okay, well, whether you haven't got a job or whatever, they were showing me a new job. So that's why I always describe it as a change of job. There's a new job coming up, I think, as early as next month. And you seem to be happy with that. That sort of gives you a point of focus then of things for you to start working on. Did you move from Colorado to Nebraska to be closer to him?
No, I moved because my husband passed away a year ago. And so I needed to find myself again. Mm-hmm. And I just needed to get away.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I can appreciate after losing your husband that you feel that you need to sort of bring some changes into your life. It's always a difficult when we lose somebody like that. And, 12 months is nothing in the scheme of things as far as grief. It's just sort of, once you get over that 12-month mark, I think you start to sort of look at things maybe through a little bit clearer eyes. So I can certainly understand that, you're ready to bring in some more positive outlooks to your life now, that, getting a job and making some new friends and sort of moving into that new location and all those sort of things is that fresh new beginning that you feel very much so that you needed. I just sort of feel that you need to sort of take a little bit more time for yourself. And I'm not saying that because you've been widowed. I'm saying that because that's what they're sharing with me. Even though this relationship will, sort of come back around again and, it'll get on a much more level footing, I think we've still got a little bit of time up our sleeves that we can find out who Taylor is now, the new Taylor. What does the new Taylor want out of her new revamped life? I think there's more of you to blossom yet, Taylor, particularly as you start to go to work and you're gaining more confidence in yourself and, your life's starting to unfold again. You are actually quite naturally psychic. Do you get strong feelings about things, Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah. I want you to learn to work with that. Don't question it. The way that we strengthen our psychic ability is not to argue with it. If you get a feeling about somebody that you don't like them, that you don't know what it is, but you just know there's something not right, and everybody else says, oh, that person's absolutely fantastic, I want you to sort of know that you were shown that or felt that for a reason. So that puts you a little bit more on guard. It doesn't mean that you walk away from that person, but you listen to that. And the more that you do that and acknowledge it and work with the energy of being psychic or getting intuition or gut feelings, whatever you want to put on it, stronger, then the more natural it becomes. I think in the next 12 months, you're going to find that's really going to build for you. And it's good because, you've got a whole brand new life out there, Taylor, and life is going to be very exciting and very different. So just enjoy what's ahead of you. I feel you're doing well, and enjoy your new move to Nebraska. There's lots of doors to fly open for you soon, sweetie. So I hope that's helped you. That's where we're going to leave Taylor now. We've come to the end of the show, as we have, and I do apologise again for the technical issues we've had. Internets and service providers are wonderful when they work properly, and sometimes they don't work properly, and that's the lap of the gods, isn't it? So from all of us here at A1R Psychic Radio, I want to take the opportunity to thank you for tuning in each and every week. We have a multitude of very different shows that are beamed around the world from many of the amazing practitioners and psychics and healers from around this amazing planet of ours. And I feel very blessed to be able to work with such an amazing team here. And I've been with the network now over 5 years, and it only seems like 5 minutes ago we started. And it's amazing to see how time has evolved and the shows have evolved over time. And I've made lots of nice connections with lots of people from around the world. And I have many clients from people that I've read for a couple of minutes on the show here that have, become regular clients of mine. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you. It is a very special time of the week for me where I get to sort of do the things that I love best, and that's talk about astrology and connect with people on a very, very different level than what you do in a one-on-one reading. It gives you a chance to get to know who I am, how I work, the way that I present a reading, that I'm very straight and direct and to the point. So for, some people find that a little bit confronting, and other people love that very direct approach. It's the way I've always worked as a reader. So I want to leave you with my song of the week, and it's a very old song, and I think it's a very appropriate song, but it's for each and every one of you, and it's by Billy Joel, Just the Way You Are. So don't go changing. We love you just the way you are. Until next week, bye for now.